Hi there, my name's Jesse Pohlman. I am an author from Long Island, New York, and this is the 2023 yearly wrap-up. This is my fourth wrap-up that I've done. I started this in 2020, and it's been a pretty good way of keeping myself accountable by means like this. Our yearly theme this year was the Year of the Tooth, Minor Medical Nuisances, and Trincarnate. This was supposed to be the Year of Accomplishment, which in a sense it was, but as the theme for this year indicates, this year got hijacked by a lot of medical issues that weren't exactly ideal. Okay, so I had 2 oral surgeries, as well as a toenail resectioning, an endoscopy, and an epidural. That's almost an average of 1 medical issue every, 2 months. The first 3 of these, right, the oral surgeries and the toenail resectioning, each impacted me for about a month, which reduced my overall effectiveness. That's on top of other dental work and medical stuff I had to have done. And I also attend physical therapy twice a week for my neck, so that's not good. And also, we caught COVID in mid-December when I was trying to work on some other stuff. So this year's been medical minor issues just for me, and I wasn't alone. My wife had other medical issues, some more serious than mine. So I spent some time trying to help her out. And my mother-in-law had a serious medical issue that came up that consumed a great deal of attention. But enough excuses, even though they're more like good reasons. What did we get done? Well, we got my parents' house cleaned out, and we're in the process of getting some touch-ups done to sell it. That's a huge amount of work, primarily led by my wife and mother-in-law, because I'm not good at that stuff. We got irrigation installed, we got a new washer-dryer, after the 40-year-old appliances my grandma left us finally bit the bullet, all that jazz. So lots of real-life project progress. But you're not here for real-life projects, you're here for my publication stuff. And the big thing is, I published Physics Incarnate. It's my 3rd book in the Physics Incarnate series. It's my 8th novel overall. And it's an awesome completion to what wound up being a 10-year-long project. It was my first time working with an editor, so that was exciting. I also published a short story called His First Job. It had a publication in an anthology, Tales of the Magic Weavers by the Guild of Fantasy, so that was neat. I know I left a swear word in there, because I did. Right Hive 2023. I'm wearing a Right Hive shirt, in case you can't tell. I moderated the D&D Character Matrix lecture, as well as Believable Technology and Fiction panel. I also spoke on the Identifying Your Subgenre panel. It was a lot of great work. I also moderated the conference chat rooms. Also, I moderated the yearly weekend write-in every other week for much of this year, so that's neat. Chronicles of Valoron content. Okay. This is an area where I failed to truly live up to my desired content creation. I was aiming for 6 full chapters this year, and I wrote 3. But one was about 2.5 times the length of a normal one. So I basically did the same as last year, minus a couple short stories. For my blog, on my website, jpohlmanwriting.com, I wrote about 22 blog articles last year. This year, that number dropped to 12 because I discontinued a series that wasn't getting any readers. I also did some some more thoughts on episodes because of the actors and writer strikes, since that's my usual fodder for review. This is an area I can do better on. The weekly free porter, 10 episodes. So we're not even the monthly free porter, but that's fine since I'm kind of leaving port anyway. It's not a bad thing, but it's a good metaphor for my life's journey. Dystopian Review came back. I created 2 new Dystopian Review videos, one on Warhammer 40,000 and one on Berserk. The Warhammer 40k video actually cracked 1,000 views, so I'm 1/40th of the way there. That's pretty awesome. The Progressive Cafe, that's my Substack. I did a count up. I released 53 posts in 2023. That's basically 1 per week. Some were relatively short. One of them was an open letter that was basically a copy-paste. But some of them were really deep dives. Topics explored included studios using finished films as tax write-offs, COSA, fascism, prison abolition, debt forgiveness, and more. Total paid book sales. 12 total, with 11 coming in December. 9 of the new book, Trincarnate. 2 of the previous book, Reincarnate. A Protostar Memoirs of the Messenger to round it out. Last year I sold 5, so it's a pretty huge improvement. That's double. Thank you. For my Frost PDP channel, my game channel, I'm going to have to relocate my cat because she's trying to claw my arm. This is Ariel. She's my nuisance, my bane, and my love. Okay. Primary list of monthly accomplishments. This list does not include individual Let's Plays. I don't even count up the number I did. There's some campaigns I have like 80 in, just so you know. So I did my Humanitas campaign in Stellaris. I did my Snapdragons campaign in Stellaris until the game updated and spazzed out on me. I did 2 Master of Orion 2 campaigns. I played around with Master of Orion Conquer the Stars. I did a bunch of Final Fantasy XIV videos. I am currently about 45 episodes deep into my Gale of Waterdeep campaign in Baldur's Gate 3, which is my current gaming addiction. I don't think I've been captivated by a game like this in forever. I made a feature-length video, I say feature-length, that's more like 20 minutes, about bringing in Legend of Runeterra mods. My Frost PDP subscriber count started at 656, ended at 689. That's 33 gained. It actually topped out about 3 higher than that, but I've dropped off a few. It's not bad considering I didn't have a lot of big standalone videos. I don't really have the game that I used to do, like with Crusader Kings 2. Bringing in is kind of comatose. I don't know enough about Master of Orion 2 or Stellaris to make decent guides, all that stuff. Alright, now we're up to my favorite part. Major releases by month. I'm going to try to keep this section relatively short and only cite moderate to major releases for various projects. Major publications will be in purple, Chronicles of Valorant will be red, Weekly Freeporter will be orange, Frost PDP will be blue, blogs will be gray. The Progressive Cafe will not be counted. Again, it's 53 articles, most of which were at least 1,500 words. Nor will most individual Frost PDP videos. YouTube Dystopian Review will be green. I'm leaving off my work for Right Hive. I want to show you something real quick, though. This, which is actually sun-faded at the top, as you can see, because there's only little numbers instead of the whole list of numbers, is like my keeping track of Right Hive weekends. Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Right Hive Discord. Starting from February 2nd... I'm sorry, February 18th. February is the second month. Going to yesterday, the 30th. I host a weekly write-in every other week. I say 26 weeks hosting there. I probably only started that mid-year, but who's counting, right? And I guest hosted before I started officially hosting, so... I'm now a moderator at Right Hive, and I've been moderating the conference now for 2 years. I'm looking forward to Right Hive's 5th anniversary. That's going to be awesome. Significant projects that I'm going to talk about are marked in bold. Okay, so the Weekly Freeporter, 334, the Casino Breakdown. There's one to build a casino on Long Island, and I wrote about that. There's not much to say there. It was a long article. It was in-depth, and it's really an interesting question of seeing who sides with the casino and who doesn't, and who wants to approve it and who's against it. I did 2 more power-ups this year just because I was still working on that series, but again, that wasn't getting a lot of viewership, so that's why that fell off. February 23rd, I published his first job. It's the first Randalia storyline. I'm going to talk about Randall Park a little bit in a little while, but Randalia is a setting that I've talked about on my website a little before. I've worked on it since I was like 16, 17, since I was a baby little lifeguard. And over the years, it's developed into something I might actually make a book about. We'll talk about that more later, too. March 10th in particular, I did a dystopian review, Warhammer 40k. What can I say? I got introduced to Warhammer 40k around 2018, I want to say, 17, 18. I particularly listened to a YouTube channel called Oculus Imperia, which does like audio logs set in the setting, and that's a really unique experience. I've even written a couple Mercedes Lackey short fictions, like fanfics, that way, of Valdemar, set in the universe. So that was fun. You can see a couple Chronicles of Valorons, some The Weekly Freeporters in orange. The next big thing I want to talk about is May 17th, Chronicles of Valoron, Frosty's artwork. Now, I'm Frost PDP. I have a friend named Frosty Melancholia. I know, we have the same kind of theme. And he did an artwork for me. I commissioned him to do a Chronicles of Valoron artwork. And it was very good. But I don't feel like it got a lot of views. So that's unfortunate. June 7th, the Weekly Freeporter, 339, air quality warnings. The only reason I wanted to mention this is because, like, nowadays, every summer you get a fire season up in Canada, and that blows down a bunch of particulate matter. That's not fun. It's really bad for people's lungs. It's bad for animals. It's bad for the forests themselves to be on fire, you know, because fire's not necessarily the best thing in the world. The weekly Freeporter 340, Pride on the Mile. This is something that's interesting. So this is the first big Pride event Freeport's ever held. I'm super proud of my hometown for that, because it's a Pride event, right? And that's awesome. So getting to go down to Freeport and report on the goings-on there and take pictures. I haven't done on-the-ground journalism in a long time, and it was nice to be able to be physically okay enough to do that. Thank you, physical therapy. July 10th, Randall Park memories. So Randall Park is the park in Freeport that I used to lifeguard at. And I would lifeguard there every summer. And what we did is we mostly just hung around. I mean, I don't want to say we didn't work, because if you read this article, like, I saved lives. Like, literally pulled women with spinal injuries out of the pool. Or a woman, I should say. Woman, you know, you get the point. I've pulled a lot of kids out of the pool that were just in too deep, but I've made, like, serious saves. I've treated injuries in and out of the pool. We do a lot of good stuff there, lifeguards. If you're watching this from Freeport, like, seriously respect the lifeguards from the Freeport Rec. They do a lot of work. But I talked about my memories there, both my good ones and my less good ones, because it was important. It was important to get this down. There's concerns about the park being closed. Those seem to be not well-founded, but there were concerns, and I just wanted to talk about that because it was important. And that plays into the Randalia setting, because some aspects of the Randalia setting that I'm working on developing for a novel are based on my experiences at the park in terms of, like, the geography of the park, like the pools are the giant lakes in the country, stuff like that. The park itself is roughly sketched out to be the geography of the country, all of that. Moving on to August 1st, Dystopian Review, Berserk. I love Berserk. Kentaro Miura is awesome, or was awesome. Studio Gaga is awesome in continuing his work, and I wanted to talk about it because it's a very dystopian setting. It's really dark. It's got all sorts of messed up stuff. But what can I say? It's Berserk. It's awesome. And it really deserves to be talked about in a dystopian setting. So yeah, that's good. More stuff. September and October, I was really working on the novel. That was really where my focus was. I mean, by this point, I was starting to do, like, weekly meetings with my editor. And I was just grinding my nose to the stone. And that brings us to... I know I didn't highlight this for review, but, like, the Venture Brothers movie was really good. I'm really glad they got to make a movie. I hope to make more of it. Anyway, December 15th, Physics Trincarnate released. I gotta say, I was really nervous when I saw the pre-orders, and there was only one pre-order, but, like, sales have been alright. I mean, 9 sales in 15 days isn't bad, but it's not great. It's just what it is, and hopefully we get more. It's not bad for the third entry in a book that hasn't had a book series that hasn't had an entry released in 10 years. So it doesn't have the what do you want to call it? The momentum of a boulder rolling down a hill. You know? So that's it. And then, of course, today, Year in Review. It's coming out today because it's 11:09 and we're done. No, we're not. Areas of Accomplishment. I kind of did this already up front. But since this was supposed to be the Year of Accomplishment, we've got a few, but we got to be brisk. The main focus was just survival. Like I said, there was a lot of, oh, honey, I needed you to drive me to X place because I have to be sedated. Or, oh, I got test results back and we've got problems. Stuff like that. So as far as accomplishments go, we survived. My biggest area of accomplishment was publication. I published both a self-published novel and a traditionally small press published novel, a short story. So what that means is, yes, I put out my own novel, but somebody else actually took a chance on my story, and I hope it sold well. I don't have access to that data. I hope it sold well. I also worked with an editor for the first time, and I improved a lot of my skills. We got work on the house done. That was huge. I mean, lots on our house, lots on my parents' house. I also had a decent number of things published that weren't major publications. Outrun may have come up short, but doing the Progressive Cafe frequently was pretty damn rewarding, even if it was just a lot of work. Remember, that's once a week. Again, I'm doing a 1,500 word article once a week. That's a lot. That's not easy. I also mostly kept to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday release schedule of gaming Let's Play content. I love that stuff because I get to play my games while also getting something produced that hopefully entertains folks. The channel gained 33 subscribers, which is more than I gained last year, It's a slow grind to 1,000, I guess. That's when you can monetize, which is theoretically the goal. I'm not too concerned. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. As per my wife's suggestion for 2024 areas of focus, we're hoping that this is going to be the year of action. What that means is we're going to start the process of moving, which is a good thing. It's going to be a couple years' work to get that all done. We're having a house built. I know that's pretty awesome news. I know that sounds pretty conceited, but like, we're selling my parents' house. We're going to have a house built. And we're going to sell the house we live in. It's a lot of work. We're moving. And we're moving to a very different place. So it's not bad. It's a lot of work. As far as writing publishing goes, which is the focus of these reviews, I'm actually at a crossroads with a lot of directions I can go. For starters, I have a more short story I'm almost done with that I want to submit somewhere. I have a place that I'm submitting it. It's about dragons. It's going to be fun. It's got Serge Lankman, or Sergey, however you want to say his name. Either way is fine. He's in it. He's the main character of the story. I know, right? We're going back to the guy who died in Pillars 2. I have a finished first draft of a protostar novel that I don't like much. It needs a lot of revision. It has a few scenes that need to be scrapped and remade. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to have to do it right, and that's going to require going in and dealing with, like, the middle climactic chapters, the mid-climax. I have a Pillars sequel novel with a first draft done that I might go through editorial with. In other words, this one I feel confident with. If I can keep up the pace of averaging one editorial session a week, which is hard, right? Even if I can do one every other week, I can probably have that out by the end of the year. That would be a thing. And I have an idea for a Randallian novel I could draft, but I'm still lacking a lot of quintessential parts for a novel. For example, the closest thing to an antagonist is the circumstances Darren finds himself in, or maybe that's more like a member of the royal family. I don't know. Maybe it's the system that Darren might end up on the opposing side of. So with that all out of the way, I have a lot of options and no clear direction, but maybe I can do a lot of these things all at once. Maybe I can do the Pillars novel as well as the Randallia one, since Pillars is revision and Randallia is drafting. I do want to note, Pillars novel would not necessarily be a Pillars of the Kingdom 4. Because one thing I'm concerned about with the Trincarnate is that because it's book 3, people think you have to read the first 2 and they don't want to commit to that. You don't need to read the first 3 to read this. You just need to read the third. So with Pillars, it would be the same thing. You don't need to read the first 3 books. This would just be a standalone novel. Yes, it's a sequel, but if you didn't read the first 3, don't worry about it. As far as gaming goes, I'm definitely going to keep playing Baldur's Gate 3. That game is fantastic. It's one of the best games I've ever played. It's certainly one of the best RPGs. Maybe the best? I'm not sure. I mean, like, when you think RPGs, the spectrum goes from stuff like Secret of Mana, which was hugely inspirational to me, Breath of Fire 2, which was hugely inspirational to me, Final Fantasy 7. Those are all great games, and they're very different than Baldur's Gate 3. Maybe it's just the best CRPG, whatever. So, yeah, I have a lot of content to explore since I'm only still in Act 1. I'm looking forward to that. Ongoing things include weekly Substacks, gaming content 3 times a week. I know I said 5 times a week last year. That didn't happen. And Right Hive moderating hosting. The music I use in this video is Cinematic Retro Synth. It's by Karl Casey at Wipeout Audio. And, yeah, so that's it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you want to check out my book, I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I hadn't posted any videos on this channel last year at all. Will that change this year? I don't know. I mean, if I have something to promote, maybe I will. But we'll see. I'm very grateful to you all for checking this out. Thank you again for joining me. Pieces.